because after all, the guy gets paid to play hockey, not to be a billboard for LGBTQ propaganda.
I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, that's all I'm going to comment on that. If you have any hockey questions, I would answer those.
Can you just clarify clarify your religion?
Russian Orthodox.
This is Ivan Provorov of the Philadelphia Flyers. When the team held Pride Night, he refused to wear the rainbow-themed warm-ups. Head coach John Tortorella addressed the media postgame.
Really a great night. With Provi, he's being true to himself and to his religion. This has to do with his belief in his religion. And it's one thing I respect about Provi. He's always true to himself.
This is disappointing from Tortorella. However, at the end of the day...
Why is it disappointing? The guy actually knows the person. So there's a coach who trains every single day with that individual. If there's anybody that knows that individual, this hockey player, it would be his coach. Because he spends time with him. He works with him. He's his boss to a certain extent. And he's saying, hey, this guy's being true to himself. This is the sort of guy he is. This is the personality he has. But this commentator with the Young Turks is saying that this is disappointing.
He is John Tortorella, after all. Now, this is where we cannot and will not allow history to just be washed away. Because in 2016, John Tortorella said of San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick's protest, "If any of my players sit on the bench for the national anthem, they will sit there the rest of the game." That's when Tortorella was asked another question.
Is there any consideration on your part when he chose not to wear the jersey to not play him as a result?
No. I'm not going to answer many more questions.
The hard-headed Tortorella, who always has a beef with someone and is outspoken on just about everything, suddenly has very little to say. The irony. According to the Pew, Provorov's religion largely rejects the LGBTQ plus community.
Largely rejects? As far as I know, the Russian Orthodox Church's view is that it completely rejects, not largely rejects. But most Orthodox Christians say homosexuality should be discouraged. It doesn't matter what most Orthodox or most Protestants or most Catholics think. This Pew, whatever, research, it should be what the religion teaches. And then whether individuals are in line with the teachings of their religion or not. I wonder, it would be very interesting to me, I'm genuinely speaking here, whether they would have made a big deal like this if the player in question was a Muslim.
Believing it to be a sin. In fact, the head of Provorov's religion said... This is shady reporting. The head of the religion, according to them, would be Jesus. If you mean the head of the church, that's a completely different question, right? The patriarch, which is who they're talking about. The head of the religion? Like come on, man. So-called homosexual marriages were a threat to families, and added that when laws are detached from morality, they cease being laws people can accept. He was equating LGBTQ plus rights to Nazism. According to the Times, the patriarch has made similar comparisons between marriage equality and authoritarianism in the past, saying in 2016 that
his name is Kirill. But he maybe doesn't know how to say it, so he's just saying in 2016.
That homosexual unions were a form of Soviet totalitarianism that threatened humanity. Furthermore, their position is quite clear on the subject. This is a very dangerous apocalyptic symptom, and we must do everything in our powers to ensure that sin is never sanctioned in Russia by state law, because that would mean that the nation has embarked on a path of self-destruction. Wow, that is a very far cry from what the NHL has sold us, isn't it? You know, the mantra of hockey is for everyone, including the celebration.
Wait, where's the connection there, guys? Hang on. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this. So the head of the Russian Orthodox Church made a bunch of claims about homosexuality, opinionated himself about totalitarianism, opinionated himself about, apocalyptic kind of stuff and morality and so on and so forth. And then he's jumping into like what the NHL has sold them. The NHL is not the Russian Orthodox Church, nor is everyone in the NHL a part of the Russian Orthodox Church. Like this one dude that's a part of the Russian Orthodox Church is saying, hey, my church is against this and I'm going to refuse to participate in this one thing. What's wrong with that? Just refusing to wear a shirt.
Of Pride Month. So what did the Flyers do that was so offensive?
That's interesting.
To this small-minded man before.
Come on, man. I hate stuff like this. That's ad hominem attacks, just cheap shots and stuff like that. It's like just lousy reporting to this small-minded man. You work for an organization called the Young Turks. Forgive me. Let me drink some tea. My friend, you work for an organization that is run by a Turk, that is named after the Young Turks who committed the genocide against Armenians, Greeks, and Assyrians. That dude is small-minded, I guess. Maybe your research into the organization you work for is as shallow as the research you've done on this subject. How do I know that? You just called the head of the Russian Orthodox Church the head of his religion.
Game, the team wore warm-up jerseys with rainbow logos and wrapped their sticks in rainbow tape. Both the jerseys and the sticks, the team announced, were supposed to be auctioned off for charity. There was also a pregame skate for a local organization for LGBTQ plus youth. The Flyers gave complimentary tickets to the game to 9 LGBTQ plus organizations. That's what...
I know, huh? Man, what an evil man this guy is, because he doesn't want to wear stuff that's going to be auctioned off to charity, and that's the route you're going. That's the route you're going. We can see through it, right? But that's okay. Continue.
Grinds this guy's gears.
He's so evil.
Is that folks were instructed to have different colors on hockey tape.
This is called false equivocation, by the way. So if they were like, hey, everybody, we're having a fancy, crazy hockey stick night. Just have different color hockey sticks. Nobody would have had an issue. But that's not what's going on, right? But that's what he's reducing it to. No. What was going on was specifically for them to wear certain things, to do certain things in order for them to support a certain cause. Not, oh, he's scared of some colors.
And on their warm-up jerseys.
Oh.
And that folks in LGBTQ plus organizations were being recognized. Are you kidding me?
No, he doesn't want to support that, and he has a right not to. Last I checked, this is the United States of America, and he has a right not to support that. If the NHL wants to fine him, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily be against that. If the organization he works for wants to fine him because they want to take the side of pro-LGBTQ plus whatever, that's fine. They can fine him. They're a private organization, and if they want to do that, they can fine him. They can say, hey, this is what our organization and our company wants to do. You're not for it. We're going to fine you. That's okay. And if the player says, that's fine, I'll take the fine, then that's on him. He'll take the fine and not do, but don't call him a, evil person because the guy is being true to his religion. Again, like I said, if this guy was a Muslim, would this gentleman who works for the Young Turks, I should add that again, an organization called the Young Turks, which is highly offensive to me and almost all Armenians I know, except one that works for them.
How small-minded this person is. Broad Street Hockey's Madeline Campbell would write, Provorov has made it abundantly clear he's not a team player. He has taken...
What do you mean he's not a team? Of course he's a team player. He goes out on the field and plays with his teammates. How many of his teammates are like, that stop talking to him? Or are his teammates the ones who are being forced to do this and don't want the backlash, like stories like this, who just go on with it anyways, which most people end up doing that? with anything, by the way. And then they're seen as like, oh, look at them. They're team players.
An exercise that the whole of the team participates in order to support an underserved section of their fan base, and made it about himself and his beliefs.
Think about what they're proposing here, by the way. I think it's called groupthink. That's what they're proposing. Like, look, everybody's doing it. The whole team is doing it. When I was young and I used to do stuff, stupid stuff, and then my mom would say, why did you do that, Arthur? And I said, because all my friends did it. And my mom would say, if all your friends went and jumped off a cliff, would you go jump off a cliff with them? Good question, Mom. Probably wouldn't. What these guys are saying, your whole team is going to jump off a cliff. Jump off with them because you want to be a team player.
Not the first Russian Orthodox player in the league who was asked to take part in his team's Pride Night celebration.
No, but not all Russian Orthodox people and not all people who claim to be a certain religion actually follow the teachings of their religion. That seems to be a pretty well-known thing, especially for someone who's a journalist. They should know this stuff.
He will not be the last. That's all others to date have shown up. When he couldn't is disappointing too. Now, some might remember the Detroit Red Wings as Pavel Datsyuk. Incredible handles, good deking. Well, he too cited his religion as the reason he does not believe gay people should have any rights whatsoever. The defector's Kelsey McKinney would add this of John Tortorella. People are allowed to hold hateful and awful beliefs. A head coach cannot force...
I love it's like, hey, no bias here. No bias here, right, guys? Yeah, people are allowed to hold... It's not hateful. It is not hateful for you to disagree with that. You're not hating anyone. I mean, I can't speak for this individual, but the position itself, the Christian Orthodox position, and I mean that not just the Orthodox Church, I mean that Protestant, Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, Greek, Russian Orthodox. Nowhere does it say in the Bible that you are to be hateful towards, X, Y, and Z, right? It says these things are a sin, and we shouldn't be participating in sins. And we should be calling sins for what they are. If you're going to be promoting a certain kind of lifestyle, or if you're going to be promoting something that is fundamentally against the morality of your belief system, you have a right to reject it. It's just simple.
Player to warm up in a jersey he doesn't want to wear. But a coach is also free to inflict his own standards and rules on his players.
Correct, yeah.
And there was nothing stopping Tortorella from benching Provorov for the game.
Correct. But the coach, Tortorella, knows the player, Provorov, well because he practices with him all the time. And maybe the coach is looking at this and saying, I'm not going to make this an issue. I want my player to play. Because after all, the guy gets paid to play hockey, not to be a billboard for LGBTQ propaganda.
It's a simple principle, really. One coaches adhere to all the time. You don't practice, you don't warm up, then you don't play.
Yeah, but he's not the reason why he's not practicing is not because he doesn't want to practice. The reason why he's not practicing is not even because the coach said everybody's got to do this. It's because the organization said and forced everyone to do that. So let's nuance these things very carefully because we want to be people who think well on these subjects. Because very clearly the quote-unquote journalism coming from the young Turks isn't that good.
She would continue, as a head coach, your duty is not only to your team, but to your fan base. And on a night when the arena was filled with people who were there to celebrate Pride, when almost the entirety of the team chose to participate, Tortorella chose to let Ivan Provorov play. What shouldn't get lost is exactly what Kelsey is saying here. This was supposed to be a safe place, a place where we recognize you, we love you, we accept you for who you are.
We accept you for who you are, except if you're a Russian Orthodox Christian, Provorov. We don't accept you. We accept you for who you are unless you actually practice the stuff you believe in, then we don't accept you. Does that make any sense?
What the NHL is sending out to its fan base. And best believe, you may not want to believe it if you're a hater. And if you're someone who thinks like this, there are gay hockey fans.
Who's actually walking around on this planet thinking, man, there aren't any gay hockey fans? Does anybody even think that? Probably not. So why bring it up? Do you actually think there are conservative people like myself who support this gentleman's decision walking around saying, no, hockey can't have gay fans. Who thinks this? No one. So it's if that was a paper, by the way, if this was a paper this guy was writing, I would just erase that part and say fluff, nonsense. You don't need it in there. It's useless.
Be welcomed. This is a sport that has been so far behind. And Akeem,
so far behind what?
LEU,
Sorry, what is hockey behind?
has been outspoken on many issues. And yet here we are with the league and team saying, we welcome you. This is a safe place. And Ivan Provorov saying, no, it's not. I don't.
Safe place for what is my question, right? Like if the guy's saying, listen, man, my religion teaches that this thing is a sin, it's wrong, I don't want to promote it. I think it's wrong to promote it, right? Like if that's what the guy's teaching, is that like just terrifying people? Or a bunch of like gay people running around and just like in shock and whatever other dismay that Christianity teaches these things? I mean, there's a good amount of them, by the way, that are trying to somehow internally reform and change Christianity to theologically justify the very fundamental moral teachings of Christianity. It's quite a bit of that. You don't see us running around pulling our hair out or our beards out, freaking out. I mean, we give reasonable responses to them as to why they're corrupting what the actual text says. We don't cancel them. We don't call them small-minded, call them theologically incorrect. Some of them are brilliant guys and girls. They're just wrong. But this guy who works for an organization called the Young Turks, I can't get past that. Some of you guys might. I can't as an Armenian. Because every time I hear the name the Young Turks, I think about a group that committed genocide against my people. It is the equivalent of if there was a YouTube channel called the Nazis. That is exactly what the equivalent matter here is to me. Go do your research. All the leaders of the Young Turks, perpetrators of a genocide against Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks. What do Assyrians and Armenians and Greeks have in common? And what did they have in common when the genocide was committed? Can't put my finger on it, guys. I got to think really hard here. Oh, they were Christians. Small-minded people, I guess.
I think this should be a safe place for you. And to also say that you respect everyone and then do that, you don't respect everyone. You're hiding behind the thin veil that is religion in order to promote your bigotry. Let's
so
just be
nonsense there, by the way. He can respect people and think people are wrong. I respect everyone. I don't think I'm a bigot. I think homosexuality is a sin. I think that is wrong. I'm not a bigot. There isn't a bigoted bone in my body. I respect everyone. You want to sit down and have lunch and talk and debate? I'm all for it. Let's do it. I've had it. I've done it with all sorts of people who disagree with me. All sorts of people. It is what the man's religion teaches. He's not hiding behind anything. He's not hiding behind his religion. That is what his religion teaches. But liberals, for some reason, for some really awkward reason, liberals just cannot understand this while they stand on their soapbox and preach liberalism. They cannot understand that there are people who believe in their religion and their religion teaches something very clearly. What liberals really want is for you and I to change our religions or to reform our religions into something that accepts liberal ideology. In essence, what they want is liberalism as a religious ideology. If you let them have it, they would change Christianity into liberalism. Maybe with the name of Christianity so that people would still believe it. Contrary to what this gentleman might think, it ain't happening, man. And we're not small-minded. You are small-minded. I can very clearly say that. Because you happen to work for an organization called the Young Turks.
Real about it. Deadspin's Sam Fells would conclude, Torts is a hard ass until it really matters. If your religion teaches that some people are less worthy of rights, inclusion, and care because of who they are, your religion is a steaming pile of blank. Plain and simple.
Like I said, that's what liberals want. It's like, believe in your religion unless it disagrees with us. Then no, don't believe in your religion. And I shouldn't say that because it's not even your religion. Because you don't see these same people doing this sort of stuff when it comes to other religions. At the very least, I don't see them doing it when it comes to Islam. Muslims believe this. Muslims believe homosexuality is wrong. Now, I don't know any Muslim players in the NHL, and well, I don't watch the NHL, so maybe there are. Maybe there are Muslim players in the NHL, and maybe there are Muslim players in the NHL who are actually not standing up for their belief system. Maybe they should. Maybe the Christians and the Muslims should get together and say, we're standing up for our religion. We disagree in regards to our religion, but we agree on this subject. And it'll be very interesting to see what these same media outlets will say and do. See, notice here, by the way, I should this individual he's quoting, that some people who are less worthy of rights, that begs the question, where do rights come from? In the United States, at least our founding documents say that we get our rights from our creator. Makes us ask the question of how do we know there's a creator, who is the creator, and X, Y, and Z. So rights are directly tied into, at least in the United States, to our creator. The less worthy of rights, inclusion, and care. He's not excluding anyone. He just doesn't want to wear a shirt and some hockey sticks that are colorful. And care because of who they are. Notice here the religious conversation has nothing to do with the truth of the religion, but whether one agrees with the religion or not. It's like we don't frankly care whether you agree with us or not. We're more interested in the truth.
It is a frustrating reminder that even as sports organizations try to open up to all kinds of fans, there remain people with the power and influence to really make a difference in the game who do not seem to care.